evening, and welcome to another episode of the Power Half Hour Unstoppable Business Owner. Before I bring our amazing guest on the show tonight, I just want to give a shout out and a coming soon, November 1st, The Great Flood of Bovin Land is coming out. Written and illustrated by Owen Sharp. It is an amazing children's book between the ages of 3 to 6 that shares a story of adventure and also leaves you with an amazing opportunity at the end to have some educational points with your children. So definitely get your copy. It will be where all books are sold. So again, that is The Great Flood of Bovin Land, November 1st. All right. Hello, Miss Dawn Hill. How are you this evening?
How are you? I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing a hell of a lot better. Like, at least I'm not itching my skin off and
flying your neck off.
Yeah, or my neck. It's just like I feel today's the first day where it's been better. So
good.
Thank you to all the people that have been patient that I've had to cancel a couple shows, but
I bet. But you couldn't you have to take care of yourself. That was priority number one.
Yes. And that's, funny that you said that, because that's the perfect segue of what we're talking about today. So Dawn and I are going to be doing this amazing, here, let me bring it up here. I have, here we go.
She's got it. There it is.
Confusion to Clarity Summit. We are putting a summit together for you amazing people out there. November 8th from 9 a.m. to
November
1 p.m.
18th.
What did I say? 8th?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry. So we're going to talk about going from confusion to clarity and what's it going to take to get you unstoppable. Because, well, we're unstoppable overcomers here on this channel, but and everybody I associate myself with is unstoppable. So we want that for you, right? And it's funny. Dawn came to me. She goes, "I have this idea. Will you help me put it together?" And I'm like, "Of course, because why not?" And
because you need one more thing in your life to do.
Well, girlfriend, if nothing else, these last 2 weeks, God has put me on my butt and said, not move.
Yep, that's true.
So now I have a little bit of energy after having no energy these last couple of weeks, as my body detoxes from getting eaten alive by mosquitoes. It's a real thing, folks. Trust me, it's a real thing.
It really is.
If you're not allergic to mosquitoes, you're blessed. We were just talking about that before we went live. Sorry if I start itching. I still have some spots on me that are not 100% healed yet. But it's one of those things where, if you've never experienced it, you're truly blessed.
Absolutely. 100%.
So Dawn, why are we doing confusion to clarity?
I think that the more people I talk to, because I do some consulting and stuff, and then just normal conversations like at Walmart or whatever, people are just hungry for answers. They're hungry for change. They really want to do better, to know better. But a lot of times we just get stuck in our own head. And in my head, I don't know about your head, but it's real confusing sometimes. And it's real hard to find clarity just with yourself. So having someone that's walked it, like where you've walked and where I've walked, to be able to come together and empower people to know they can find clarity. Is it going to be super, honestly, simple and easy? Probably not. But it's so doable. And I think we just need to encourage each other to go, just do it. Okay, so you do it and you make a huge mess. Oh, well, whatever. Just, someone will come along and help you clean up the mess. I mean, it's better than sitting in your own head, in your own, well, I've been there, in your own bedroom for days on end going, well, yeah, I should probably get up and take a shower. I probably stink, because it really, it gets to that point. It can really, that confusion and that sense of loss or grief or whatever it is, you just don't know what you're supposed to do. And then you get so overwhelmed because honestly, we live in a world, we are truly blessed in the United States and Canada, I believe, because we honestly can do what we want to do. There's a few restrictions here and there, but we live in the most free part of the world and we have the most resources at our fingertips. And I think that's a blessing and a curse.
Absolutely. I think kids nowadays have no freaking clue what being
No clue.
out. Like, seriously, you should see my son's bedroom.
Hmm.
Electronics are out of this world, and
Yeah.
and he's bored. I'm like, dude, you're lucky you weren't around in my era because
Right.
your ass would have been kicked outside.
And the door locked
Don't come back in until the street lights are
till
on,
the street lights come on.
and that is it, right?
Yeah.
And so, and I think as adults, right? Like, we're a lot of us, and this is me, we want to do so much more with our life. We don't even know where to start or how to get going. But it's like we're on this hamster wheel. Like, okay, well, I'll do this, but then it's not satisfying, right? And it's constantly, well, yeah, but I'll stay in this job that I really don't like because it's an income, even though I'm like, it's
Miserable.
basically killing me inside, right? But we tend to get into that hamster wheel where, okay, well, and when do we get off of it? When do we get off the hamster wheel of life and start living our life for us and not what everybody wants us to? Because that's a lot of things. I know especially Christian women, oh, well, you can't say that, or you can't do this, or thing like that. And I'm just like, dude, hold my beer and watch me.
You tell me I can't do it, I'm probably going to do it twice. I'm just telling you. That's probably what's
Three
going to happen.
times.
If I like it, I'm just going to keep on doing it anyway.
Exactly. Like, well, here in Canada, we're known for our hockey, we're known for our beer. So it's funny, under Tim Hortons. So hold my Tim Hortons and watch me do this, because I'm telling you, it's funny. And you're right. Like, I kept saying this when I was doing my Overcomer playbook. It was just like, I see more people walking the streets alive but dead inside. They have this haunted look in their eyes, and it's just because they're doing stuff they don't want to do. And that's, for me, why I wanted to join forces with you and do this Confusion to Clarity, to Becoming Unstoppable, November 8th. And it is a free event. And so we need you to register. And I'll get that register link in the comments here. But yeah, it's a free event. Come out, join us, crazy ladies. Not only is Dawn and I going to be speaking, I actually have two more.
Awesome.
Two more so far. And I know I have a third one that I can get.
Right.
So we have a couple more speakers coming on, women that have been in the same shoes that we are, that are like, wow, life can be stressful, life can be overwhelming, but it's what you do with that, that makes you come back out on the other side. And trust me, I get it. I know, I've known grief, I've known dark moments in my life, and no stranger to that. And people say, well, how do you get out of it? One foot at a time.
Yeah. 100%. I mean, there's no magic answer. I don't think there's no magic formula. There's no get rich quick, get healthy quick, whatever it is scheme. And that's what we're such an instant society. The iPhones and the iPod, I mean, everything is about us and microwaves, and it's just not that. But there is a way. There is things you can do. There's steps you can take. And so that's what we want to do at the conference. We want to show you that you can get off the wheel. I mean, and it might be scary, and it might not make a lot of natural sense, and people might look at you like you have three heads, but that's okay, because look at them and look at where they are. Is that really where you want to be? I mean, I've had to really come to the fact that everybody will give you advice, but the advice I take, or the people that I try to take advice from, are the ones who have something I want. Mm-hmm. Why am I going to take advice from people that are sitting in the same boat as me with no oars and go into that job 9 to 5 to retire on 40% of our income and be dead by the time, or broke by the time we're 65? Guys, I'm not that far from 65, and that's not what I want. And if you'd asked me at 30, I was doing the thing. I was doing the job. I was going every day because of the income. But you've got to have that mindset shift at some point and realize that life is short, and maybe going through grief is actually what, oh, good, the registration link's up. Maybe going through grief is actually what kicked me in my tail and made me realize life is short. I mean, my mom made it to 66. She made it 3 years after she retired, but she could have made it to 100. I mean, she lost her purpose. She sat in the house and she ended up being like heartbroken, more or less. And that's what led to a lot of her illness. So, and I see that all the time. I see that with people that retire. Retirement is great, don't get me wrong, but make sure you have a plan. And I don't just mean for your finances. I mean, like, what are you going to do? Are you going to sit in the house 24/7 and just wither away? Are you going to go volunteer? Are you going to spend time? Are you going to travel? Well, if you're going to do those things, how are you going to do them? And I think we tend to get lost in the, oh, I'm 62 and I can grab Social Security and I could retire. Yeah. You might want to look into that before you make that decision, because it may not be what you think it's going to be, at least here in States. I don't know.
Girlfriend, I get depressed when I go on my CRA account and see what I could retire at. I'm like, dude, that's just ridiculous.
It's usually less than half of your income. And most people are struggling with 100% of their income. How are they going to not struggle on half?
Exactly. You said so much there. And I'm not making this about me, but my dad died at 69 2 years ago. My mom is now 67 this year. When you talked about that, giving that analogy, they were retired, well, medically retired for 15 years prior to my dad even dying.
Right.
And so did they retire? They did, but they didn't have a life. They sat at home because they couldn't afford to do a whole lot, or, a vacation was hopping on the vehicle and going for a drive. Right. And, and now that my dad's gone, my mom's by herself. And that's the worst feeling as a child, an adult child, to know that your mother is like an hour away. I would love to be there more for her, but fortunately I have a family here that I got to take care of, and trying to change the world at the same time. So, I mean, and as somebody who's been a caretaker pretty much her entire life, like, I need a break. Right.
Yeah.
And as weird as this may sound, I'm truly thankful for getting sick, because my husband stepped up in a huge way this past week. When he finally found out, like, just how much this was taking its toll on me, it's like the man totally stepped up. And I was like, well, if I would have just asked before, he would have. But that's not my nature. My nature is not to, put a burden on somebody. Right. And not that, and he didn't feel like it was a burden, but I was just like, and then of course, I did what every good wife should do. Thanked him. Right. Because, that's what, and should we have to thank them? No. But I mean, that's what we would want.
It's nice to be thanked, though. I mean, if we like to get thanked. Do they do it all the time? No. But when it happens, as a mom and a wife, I'm very appreciative of it. Hug me, tell me thank you. I don't need a lot, but I do need that, and I think we do. Like you said, we just do it. But we also deprive them of the right and the ability to step up. And that's what I've had to be so careful of. Is like, okay, wait a minute. I need to ask for help, not just because I need it. I mean, it does make my life easier, but because everybody else needs a chance to help somebody else. Yes. Like, I spend a lot of our marriage not doing that. And I rob my kids and my husband of life skills, of blessing, I'm sure, because I was trying to fix it all the time.
Yes. Well, and that's exactly it. That was my aha moment after Sunday, because I literally said to my husband, like, I need to find a pool somewhere, an indoor pool with chlorine, and try and kill some of this off. And at first I felt guilty because I'm like, well, I should ask my stepson if he wants to go too. And then my husband's like, well, where are you going? And so I told him, and I said, and unless you're going, I'm just going by myself. I said, because I can barely take care of myself. Let alone a child at this moment. Yeah. And I come back, lunches were all pre-made for the week, dinner was started. I was just like, shit.
I'm going again next Sunday.
Right? But I feel like in our confusion, we forget to be vulnerable. And in those vulnerable moments is really when the magic happens. And I would have never had my magic moment if I wasn't vulnerable enough to say, hey, Joe, I just can't do it. And I think we went to the Michigan game this weekend, and it was a 5 mile walk from our hotel
Wow.
to the stadium, and that's, to me, like, I do that all the time. And on the walk way back, though, I'm like, oh man, I wish you would just go get the Jeep and come get me. And he goes, is it really that bad? I'm like, I'm tired. Like, I'm tired. So he's never experienced that before.
Right.
And so just being vulnerable enough to admit that, hey, I
Yeah.
need help or I need something. And that's what we want to offer men and
Yeah.
women at the summit. It's a
Absolutely.
safe place to, hear our stories, hear how we overcame, but also we want, your feedback too. Like, we definitely want questions. What are your biggest struggle moments, so that we can help you and focus this on
Yeah.
what it is that you need, not
For sure.
what we need. Um,
Right.
and not to say that we're experts, but I'm telling you, there's some doozy stuff that we've gotten through that I know somebody's struggling with right now. And
Well, and I
that's
think
the whole
that's
point.
personally why I think we go through those things is so that we can help someone else. I don't know that an expert is anything different than someone that's learned something or experienced something. Isn't that expert probably comes from experience? I've never thought about that, but so we kind of are in a lot of ways. And it's not the experience like, who I'm a physician, I'm an expert. It's like, no, I've been to the trenches, I've been drugged through the mud. I've drugged some other people through the mud, whatever it is. And yeah, that's what we want. We want you to leave the summit empowered and cleared, or at least on a path to clarity. Maybe in those few hours you feel like that's never going to happen. Maybe not, but maybe if you show up, it does. I mean, what if one of the speakers has something that they say that just is that light bulb moment? Sometimes it's a small little tweak. It's one little nugget, one little word that can really make a change. I mean, and maybe you've heard it a dozen times, but that time, it's just the time that the switch flips for you. I've had that in my business recently. We went through some shit. I mean, this summer we just did, and I lost a lot of momentum, and I just really, my give a damn was just broken. And people started reaching out and saying, where are you? What are you doing? What's going on? How can we help you? Which was great. And I was vulnerable enough to say, okay, this is where I'm at. And they were like, well, you have something in your hands. Why aren't you doing it? I'm like, okay, point taken. But they reached out, which gave me some hope. And then one of them said something I think I've probably heard a million times about, you have this great story. You have this. Why aren't you marketing or using that to help other people? And I was like, oh, well, that makes a lot of sense. So yeah, I got some more testimony to add to my story over the summer, but I flipped that switch and I've had I think 12 sales in a month, which is huge. I haven't had that many in ages. So, and I'm getting that. It's not just the sale. I mean, that's awesome. And I'm not complaining. I'm running for a trip to the Bahamas. So I definitely want the sales, but it's the fact that I got to help 12 people. I get to help them take their life back if they're ready. And some people will buy something just to be nice. Some people will buy something and leave it on a shelf. Well, it doesn't do any good on the shelf. And neither does the information you get at the summit. So come take notes. If you want to buy the recording, you're more than welcome to. It's free to come, but the recording is more. And then we will give you resources towards the end on how to contact whoever you meshed with so that you can get some further help, coaching, instruction, whatever it is that they're offering.
Exactly. And I think, well, I don't know. I think we talked about it, or maybe we didn't talk about it, but we'd like to make like a group out of this, and perhaps
Absolutely.
perhaps do these events at least 4 times a year, and next year at least have an in-person event. I think would be
I think
cool.
an intensive is kind of, what I'm thinking is that we do like a weekend intensive where the ones that are serious and the ones that really want some change, then we pick a location and we all meet there and we just go for it, and like Dorothy said, no, we're not super experts. We may bring in some other people that are, but nonetheless, you can get a lot of just the camaraderie and the weekend sharing and being able to be, yourself. Just be real. Come to the summit with number one, with an intention of what you want to get out of it, but with a real pure heart. Just be you. Don't and the same thing. If you decide to partner and come to an intensive, just come with all your crap. You don't have to leave it all at home. We know you're going to probably tell us before the weekend's over anyways. So just come with the expectation that I'm leaving all of this. I did and some people won't get this, but I follow a little bit of the Hebrew tradition, and they do mikvahs, which is like rebaptism. And this is the beginning of a year. So I did a rebaptism about a week ago. And that's what I told God on the way down there. I'm like, look, I want all this junk from the summer and 7 years, honestly, of a cycle that we're kind of coming out of and breaking. I'm leaving all that in the baptism pool. And so my intention was when whoever dunked me, that's what I did. And I honestly came up, and I really believe like everything has switched for me because my mindset shifted. And I had set that intention to leave that there and not bring it back with me. And I'm telling you what, there's been opportunities like there always is, but I am so like letting people handle their own crap. Like my husband said something the other day. I'm like, man, I can't wait to see how you handle that. And I know he said it knowing usually I will go, oh, you should do X, Y, Z. But I was like, let me know how that comes out. And he was like, seriously? Awesome. Yes. And I've done it to my kids. I'm like, I'm the freest woman on the planet. I have more time. I have more energy. I'm like, woohoo, I can just like go and do whatever I want. Oh, man, and I say that jokingly, but it's
there's
true.
So much you said there. My eyes lit up when you said camaraderie.
I saw you.
I was just like lit up like a freaking Christmas tree, because for those of you that are under a grape tree somewhere, I don't know that I've been really in the veteran community. When you said camaraderie, that's one of the things they miss when they come out of the military. When they transition to civilian life, camaraderie's gone, their purpose is gone. Oh shit, this is all good. And I'm getting this.
Well, that happens.
This is what I want to do for the civilian world. Like I help the military world, the veteran world.
Well, and civilians have that in a job a lot of times. What happens when they work 40 years and they retire? They lose their work family. They lose their purpose. It's the same sort of thing, just a different dynamic. It's way more intense in the military, or like for my husband, who's a retired firefighter, they lost the brotherhood because it's not like it used to be. And I think the veteran communities like that. I think they try to stay together, but I just don't think it's just not the same as being in the house together or being in the barracks together. You know, when you're in the firehouse, you're in the firehouse. I mean, you're there 24/7 for a day or two, several times a week. Same thing in the military. You're there, 6, 8, 12 months, maybe with a leave here or there. So, yeah, I mean, that camaraderie is huge. We're made to be in community. That's why I think we all gravitate towards those things. So if we can create that through cultures or independent income or whatever we do to create that, that's what we need. And we need it. And it's okay to say you need it. You don't have to be that strong, tough lady or guy or whatever, you know. And you know what? Sometimes life sucks and you just need to say, on Facebook, today my life sucks. You know what? It just does. Is it going to suck tomorrow? I don't know. But I mean, honestly, we got to quit faking it. This whole fake it till you make it BS, it's caused so many people, and veterans included, to even end their lives. Let's be really real there, you know, because we're trying to be so strong that we can't say, dude, I'm struggling over here. We have actors and military and, you know, service people just all over the place that are so depressed. They would either end their life, or they'll end their life through drugs or alcohol or another addiction, because it's the same process. They're just trying to medicate themselves.
Absolutely. Oh man, you said so much. Number one, I didn't realize your husband was a retired fighter.
22 years volunteer. So he had a paid job and he volunteered for 22 years, which means I was a single parent for 22 years, because volunteers don't have a schedule. They go whenever there's a call.
Oh, woman. Okay.
And that would probably explain why our marriage was slightly toxic for the first 25 years.
Okay. Well, remind me after this to connect him with Angels 14.
Oh, he would love that. That would be awesome.
Yeah, because I can get him at his group.
Yeah.
I am connected within that. So let me do that, because it's all heroes, badges, and warriors. So don't forget. I'll get him connected. So
he misses that a lot, because he medically, he thought he was 20 and he jumped off a truck and busted a knee, and he's not 20. And so they said, no, you're done. So it was a couple years earlier than he wanted to, but anytime those guys retire, I'm sure it's similar to the military, because I've done a lot of coaching with them. They miss it, especially like the firefighter EMTs, that they're in the thick, they're in the constant, it's almost like a war zone activity all the time. So they don't have that adrenaline anymore, and no one gets it. I kind of get it, because I was like support for them, but it's not the same. They really need each other to get it. Like my son was walking through something in his divorce, and his counselor said, I want you to go to this intensive in October. And I'm like, go. He's like, Mom, it's just like firefighters and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, that's exactly what you need. Go hang out for a weekend or whatever with these guys. He's like, well, what if they're like talk about their feelings and stuff? I'm like, well, then talk about your effing feelings or something, but for real, they've got to have it like that. And I was just telling, we went to get a medication check. Scott's actually coming off some of his meds, which is great. But I went to get a medication check, and I was telling the doctor, I was like, these guys are different. You can't just expect them to be like, oh, I'm going to cry today, because they can't in their environment. They can't, it will kill someone, them or someone else. So, they can't have, and then their wives, like I told him, I said, I can't be rainbows and butterflies all the time. So if I draw in a coaching or a counseling client with my counseling background, I'm probably not going to just say, oh, I just want you. I'm going to say, suck it up, buttercup. Let's figure out what to do to get you through this. Now, am I going to listen to you and be empathetic and love on you? Absolutely. But I'm probably not going to tell you to cry if you're not a crier. Now, if you're a crier, absolutely. Crying is therapeutic. I have my moments in the shower, whatever, and it's very therapeutic. But just some people, they feel they've been taught, like my husband's of that generation where his dad would say, what are you going to cry about? It doesn't do any good. And he said that very thing back to me. And I'm like, dude, first of all, step off, because I'm going to cry because it is good for me. But, that takes boundaries and things like that.
Absolutely. And I think as a man, they shouldn't have that that thrown at them. Like, allow yourself to cry. Like, seriously.
Right. But our generation, they weren't. We were still men. We were still boys and girls, and boys just didn't cry. I mean, honestly, I was raising boys, and when my 12-year-old cried the first time, I just looked at him like, what the hell am I going to do with this? Like, I expected his sisters who were older to cry, but I honestly probably told him to suck it up, because I didn't know how to respond, because I had never been raised or initiated into boys having feelings, which is perfectly normal and fine. But yeah, the way I was raised, I didn't know how to respond. Now do I tell him? Absolutely, dude, whatever, but then a lot of times guys more physical, like when my son was walking through all this stuff, he has built the best muscles in the entire fire service, I think, because he has worked out 2 to 3 hours a day. When he gets stressed, he goes to the gym. Great. Well, that was either go to the gym or get on Tinder. And, we know where that's going. So we'd rather not drink or have sex. Let's just go to the gym.
That relieves stress too, my friend.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it does. But as a mom, I'd much rather he go to the gym and not tell me about his Tinder life. So,
y'all are just joking. But seriously.
You should just come to I promise you the summer will be exactly like this. It'll be no different.
There is nothing, if you're married, there's nothing like taking your husband's hand and walking into the bedroom and going, let's go.
When we got back together, we had gone through some counseling. We sought out wise counsel because we separated for about 6 months. Thank God we needed it. But we were having our first fight, and I remember someone saying, fight naked. You can't fight naked. You can't be mad naked. And I was like, well, what the hell? So I did. I went in the room and closed the door, and he was like, I can't be mad at you now. I'm like, I think that's the point. I think that's the very point.
Well, and that's so funny because my husband has a tendency to drive me absolutely fucking insane one moment, and the next moment I am laughing my ass off.
Yeah.
So I get you. He's just funny that way. He'll say something, and I don't even know. I think it just comes out of his mouth. I don't even think he thinks about it.
It probably does. Scott calls me today. I'm at the bank, and he goes, hey, why can't Elvis Presley parallel park? And I'm like, what? I was like, I don't know. Why can't Elvis Presley parallel park? And he goes, because he's dead. What the hell?
Poor Elvis.
But I mean, I'm like on speaker in the bank because my phone, I need a new phone. But I'm like, well, everybody thought that was hilarious. Thanks for not, saying something inappropriately.
See, and this is the types of things that we're going to have at the conference. Things that are going to make you laugh. Things that are going to make you cry. Things that are going to make you stronger. Think.
Hopefully think.
And I know for me, like my healing journey started when I started diving deep into my shit.
That's right.
Right. And so when we dive deep into our shit is when we relieve it, right? And
Yeah.
so, and if we bring truth to the light, or if we
That's
bring
right.
truth to the dark, there's light, right? And so
Absolutely.
getting rid of that, that's one of the best things that I've done over the last 10 years of my healing journey is digging deep.
Absolutely.
And I have quite a few women in my life, and this one lady, she goes, I don't know of anybody else that works harder on themselves than you do. And I'm like, well, because I don't want to be where I'm at. Like I don't want to sit here in this. Like I want to be stronger and I want to be better for it. They don't call me the overcomer for nothing. Let me tell
That's
you.
right. That's right.
Um,
Well, and you
so
don't. I mean, I there's a guy, Ed Milet. I don't know if anybody follows him, but he says I want to be a different version of myself every year at my birthday. I want to have improved and meet the new me. And that was so powerful to me. I was like, you know what? That's right. Because if all we did for 1 year was remain exactly the same, we probably didn't live that potential that was there. Now, does
absolutely.
that mean it's terrible? No. But what if we all tried to live to our potential? Even 10%. I mean,
Well, it's funny because I'm doing this 75 hard, and the
yes.
objection of this is number one to get grit, which I thought I had grit before, but I've gone to a whole nother level.
Yeah.
But one of the ladies there said to me, as long as you're 1% better than you were the day before,
Every
that's
day.
all we ask.
That's
And
right.
I'm like, damn, that's profound.
Yeah.
So 1% a day, you're going to end up with your 100% eventually.
Yeah. Even if you
So
mess up by the end of the year, you're going to be better than you were before,
that's right.
and there's a story in The Slight Edge in that book about a penny and compounding interest. And, if you compound interest for a penny, or if you double a penny for 30 days, it's like $10 million or something. It's crazy. Like, so think about that in yourself. If you read something or dive into your crap and relieve, some of it, by the end of the year, if you really do it, you're going to feel so much better and you're going to be a better person. Your family's probably going to be better. Your job performance could be better, your business, whatever. I mean, it's so worth it. And it's hard, man. It's hard to take that first step and let that stuff out of the closet, because that closet is busted. We all have had closets that are like, every company's coming, you shove it in the closet. Well, we do that in life. And you got to just open the door and let all that shit fall out. Then you got to just start picking through it.
Amen, sister. So that's what we're here. We're helping you get rid of your shit. We're giving you out of your confusion.
Like an emotional garage sale.
There you go. And there is a no judgment zone with us. Absolutely no judgment zone. We're all here for each other. So man, women, doesn't matter. We're here for y'all.
Right.
So just go sign up today.
Yes.
Right now.
Yes.
It's free registration. We've got your back. We're here for you. We can't wait to see you. We can't wait to meet you. It is going to be a couple hours with a Canadian and a U.S. lady over here. And an Okie. And then someone from Wisconsin, and we've got an Indiana lady coming on board. So yeah, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be great.
Yes.
And we just we really want to serve you, and we want to help you get from confusion to clarity. Absolutely. And be unstoppable in all that you do.
That's right. That's right. Well, hey, thanks for tonight. You guys get on and register, because after you do, we'll be able to send you some things and get your questions. So this really can be tailored to you. So the sooner you get on and register, the sooner we can get everything customized to make it better for you.
Absolutely. All right, folks, with that, be unstoppable in all that you do, and see you same time, same channel next week. Bye.